All right, let me introduce real quick our guest for episode 35. She's a District 1 Council member, formerly elected to represent District 43. She holds a doctorate from the University of Hawaii. In 2016, she became the first Samoan woman to serve as the State House Minority Leader and was re-elected in 2018. She was a Republican nominee in the Hawaii governor's race. She's a mother, she's a teacher, she's a wife, and most of all, she's making a difference for the people of Hawaii. She is.
Wow.
Andria Tupola.
Oh, thank you. I was like, who's this guy talking about?
Yeah, you. Oh, good day. Good day. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming through. I know you had a really stacked schedule. I really wish you would sing for us.
I told him that I had to sing this morning. That's
Oh,
why.
no way.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You missed out, bro.
Yeah, so during the kind of a research that I did, you are a very artsy person.
I am actually. I have 3 degrees in music, so I teach choir. I'm a voice teacher. I play piano. I play lots of instruments. So I don't always get to use my voice, but today they wanted me to sing the Star Spangled Banner in Hawaii Pono'i to open the rail.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, so you came from the opening.
Yes, I did.
How was it?
It was great. Yeah, there's a lot of people there. It's kind of one of those moments, right? Like, is this really happening?
Yeah.
It seems like we've been in turmoil for so many decades over the rail. And I think what I took away from a lot of the speeches, because there was lots of speeches, was that there needed to be a lot of struggle to make it better. So a lot of people stood up, were like, yes, I battled with this person, I battled with that person. I mean, the whole rail is like battles over money, battles over transparency, but so I kind of appreciated that some people were like straight with that,
Like open with it.
like let's not fake it, like this was some clear, clean project, like it was tough. So.
If I may say, the one thing that bothered me all the time is that everybody's like, skyline. Everybody forgot about 14 billion. Everybody forgot about freaking
Yes.
10 years?
Not at 12 years. But I don't think everybody forgot. I think what we don't see is that there's a large general public that actually can use this thing. So like people like us, we don't get to use it or whatever. But when I talked about it on a radio show and I come across a bunch of people in public, there's tons of people who are like really ready for this and it could help them. I just don't know why they never start in Honolulu where there's a lot more people and work the other way. But
no, I was kind of shocked too, because when they said there was a rail opening, I thought they were going to open it in my district, because that's kind of where it started in Kapolei. They're like, oh no, the opening's in the stadium. I was like, oh, it is? I was like, oh, so it doesn't start in Kapolei?
Wait,
here?
which stadium? Because we know Normal Stadium, yeah?
You know, the big open space?
yeah. They're about to do construction on?
Yeah. So it basically, it's useless for right now to start over there because it's a construction zone.
Well, I mean, yeah, especially because the stadium is not open. It would have made sense if there was like a lot of like sporting activity, athletic events, kind of to open there. But then there's not anything but, I mean, what is it? Sakin Sevo. I think that one closed. I forget what's open over there. Oh, Ice Palace.
So Ice Palace is going to rage.
Oh, rage.
Ice Palace, because you can imagine all the kids, right? From like Evo Beach or whatever.
Straight to Ice Palace.
Yeah. So Ice Palace is going to rage. The swap meet's going to do well.
50th State Fair going to do well.
Yeah. And then, but on the off days, it's like, what do you do?
Yeah.
We'll find out.
Well, I truly hope that it's going to be an amazing experience and that everybody going to use it and that our money wasn't just a waste.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing we can celebrate, though, is that all of this needs to be used. Like, heaven forbid we have one more decade of talking about it. Like, we need to actually deploy that thing and like get it going, get people on and start to get an ROI on all of this money.
100%. 100%.
Because we still have another 8 miles for it to finish. It still has to get to town.
Airport to Ala Moana, they talked a little bit about that today, like the other segments opening. So, but I'm glad they at least opened this segment. I was like, oh my gosh, please give people hope that there's like an end to this.
Was it packed?
More or less. It was like an inaugural opening. So it was just like all of the dignitaries, elected officials, working unions, all the guys who worked on the rail. So
just out of curiosity, since there's no toilets over there, what did you do?
I did see that video.
That's what they said, right? That's what they said.
Yeah, I don't know.
So everybody was holding it in.
Yeah, everybody. Actually, they had two small doors where I saw everyone going in, but like so small, the bathroom. I think they just like, maybe that was like the utility workers' bathroom, because it definitely wasn't a public bathroom that everyone was using.
Yeah.
And what was the idea behind it? Because of homelessness or because of
I don't know.
vandalism? Or
But are there, like, have you been in other rail stations? Are there restrooms there?
Oh, yeah,
'Cause
there
somebody
has
told
to
me
be.
that there's some places don't have them.
There's no such thing. Where
It
are you
seem-
going to go?
It seems so strange.
Do they
'cause-
have it on the rail?
No.
Okay, so where are you going to go?
That's a good point. I don't know.
You finished your shift, you went to Taco Bell, you took the rail, you're going back home, what you going to do?
Yeah.
You have 25 minutes.
You can share.
The grass around the rail station, all green. All green. Lots of vegetation. Oh,
Oh, but that's nice. That's good.
Classic.
yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, like, you know, as we had stated that you're very well versed in music. You know, you got these degrees in music. You're a great singer. You're a tremendous speaker. Just a very bright light and personality. What was the point in your life that you thought, instead of going into entertainment forms, that, like, you know what, I'm going to switch over and try and take care of the general public and help the people? What is that? Because, you know, you've done music. You have all this great knowledge in music, but you're a public servant. So what was that point that made you turn from doing something that's self-gratifying and sharing into something that's completely selfless?
Well, the great pivot, huh?
Yeah, where's
when I
that?
switched careers, it was tough too, because I had a tenure spot offered to me at UH, so I was a professor, and it was a little tough because that is a really cushy, oh, you've kind of made it, you can stay here at UH and work as long as you want. And I loved it. I worked at Leeward Community College, UH West Oahu, but I had done a mission for my church in Venezuela. And so when I lived in Venezuela, I was like 23, 24. And during that time, Hugo Chavez was the president. And I saw a lot of things that many people will never see in their lifetime, right? Because it was a mix of socialism, militarism, like dictatorship. There's a lot of things going on in Venezuela. If you know, like right now, a lot of people have exiled from the country, right?
Oy.
So when I came back, I was very, very aware, because in order to survive in Venezuela, you have to be so politically aware, because that's what controls everything in the country. So I came back to the US. I was very aware of when people were talking about topics and when they talked about leadership. And so that year, the guy who was running for president had a advisor from Venezuela, bringing a lot of these concepts that ideally sound great, but when you implement those, it really makes the people dependent on the government. And I knew that was going to be bad. I saw it go bad. Mm-hmm. So I decided to jump in, get involved in the presidential race, which, you know, the person I supported didn't win. I moved on. I was like, okay, where else do we help? People were like, you should run for office. I was like, the heck would I be doing running for office? You know, I had a 2 and 3 year old. I had all these music degrees. I was like, there's got to be better people than me. So I started to kind of like, you know, research who's my representative, this, that. And of course, the more I researched, the more I was like,
yeah, this place needs some help. Yeah, this place needs some help.
slim pickings. Yeah. So yeah, I didn't really think, oh, I should do it. I was just
So
like,
it didn't come from the urge to be a politician. It came from the urge to save what is,
yeah,
to save the people.
I was still actively looking for the person who should do it, not me.
Yeah.
I was like, where is this person? So I did. I went to a bunch of events, and every time I went, people were like, it's you. I was like, I should run? No. And, you know, I had jokes about all of that because I was like, yeah, I should like run the PTA. Yeah, I should be the AYSO captain. Like, you know, like those are the kind of mom activities that I did every weekend. I didn't do anything political. I had zero political friends. I had zero political ambitions. Mm-hmm. So this guy came and talked to me and is asking me all these questions. And I felt this impression come to me really strong. And the impression didn't say run for office. The impression was shut your mouth. Because I was like, da, 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 da. You know, every time somebody talked to me, I was like, da, da, da.
Yeah.
So like the impression was like, be quiet. I was like, so I was quiet. And then the person talked to me and then I kind of let it sink in. And then I was like, oh, that's what it means to run for office? You're going to help the community? He was like, yeah. I was like, oh. I didn't really like capture that the first, second, third time people told me. And so I went home. I told my husband, I was like, hey, I'm getting this feeling like I should run for office. He was like, that's the stupidest thing you've ever said. No, I'm not even kidding. He was so angry.
Hey, you got a point, eh?
Yeah. He was like, who told you should run for office? I was like, oh, this guy. He goes, yeah, let's go meet up with him so I can tell him to your face you're not running for office. I was like, okay. So we go to dinner, and the more this person talked to me, the more I was like, this is easy. You knock doors, which is what I did in Venezuela. You share your message. I was also student body vice president for my university at BYU, so I had kind of campaigned somewhat. So in my mind, I was like, it's not that complicated. And if I can serve the community, who cares? And I didn't really know all this temperament people have towards politicians. Legit, I live in this musical world of butterflies and roses where everyone's so nice. Yeah, so I had no idea what politics was really. And so, yeah, I decided to run, and I made choices that I felt were like synonymous with who I was, right? But it was tough because I grew up in Honokai and I was living in Waianae. So okay. Chris.
For real.
Yeah, for real, right?
Yeah.
So we bought our house in Waianae in 2010. I ran in 2014. So like I knew very, very few people. We have 0 relatives there. We have 0 family members. So this impression kept coming to me like, you got to do it now. And I was like, all right, well, let's figure this out. Like, let's knock some doors, talk to some people. But it was so funny because I don't know what I'm doing, I go and knock doors and, just wear a t-shirt and shorts. People was like, where's your blazer? Where's your lei? I was like, why would I wear that? No, I had no idea that people walk around in blazers and leis when they went for off. I was like, it's so
I hope
hot.
you like the lei we got you.
Oh, yes. This is so beautiful. Mahalo. But yeah, so it was just, I don't know, it's just me doing me, and a lot of people are kind of taken back because they were like, you're wearing a hat, t-shirt, shorts. I was like, yeah, I'm running for office. They're like, what are you going to do? I was like, what do you think I should do? I don't really know. Yeah. I was like, I want to help the community, but I just moved here, so why don't you tell me? And they were like so amazed because they were like, I do want to tell you. I was like, oh, tell me all of it. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody ever asked the people.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and I had no preconceived ideas because I never grew up in the area, so I didn't think, oh, we got to fix this street. I was just like, you tell me. I'm going to work for you. Let's go. So I would knock doors. I mean, it got to the point where people are like, do you live on this street? Because I am like a workhorse. I am relentless. I would have my 2- and 3-year-old daughters ride their little bike alongside me. I'm like, let's go every day.
I just want to make sure that our listeners understand that your mom was a grandmaster Kempo karate. Is that correct?
My grandfather, yeah.
Your grandfather?
Yeah, Ed Parker.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
you are the descendant of Ed Parker.
I'm his granddaughter, yeah.
Oh my God. You understand what I'm talking about? And now your dad was the first Samoan
Judge in the United States.
Yeah.
States.
So family just got good blood, huh? You guys just got good blood. You guys like donate.
Yeah, I mean, I knew my grandfather a little bit. He died when I was 12 years old, but yeah. Started Kempo Karate, and he also brought it to the movies. So he worked with Bruce on the Green Hornet. Way back then, it was not really accepted to have karate inside movies. And then he did a couple like kata demonstrations at hotels around LA. My grandfather grew up in LA. He was on the Pink Panther. And in these demonstrations, Elvis was kind of circulating, because at that time he was kind of coming up with his music. So he ran into Elvis. Elvis asked him if he could train him. And my grandfather was like, I'm too busy to train one person. And years later, they circled back, ran into each other again. So towards the end of his life, he was a bodyguard for Elvis.
Wow.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
It's like old school stuff. Yeah.
But do you think that your work ethics come from because as a martial artist, or even your dad as a judge, it means that you're dedicated. And I think that dedication for a certain mission is what it takes to create change.
I believe that. I also believe that you have to have the mindset that you can do it. Like, I've always been under this belief that I can do anything. Like, I believe it strongly. That's why I ran for governor when I was 37.
Oh, yeah. And you did really good. Don't even in front. The numbers don't lie.
I
For
came
somebody,
out number 2, but it was still a really tough, I raised $500,000. This guy emceed a lot of my events, but in my mind, I don't just put myself out there so that I can shine. I put myself out there because I thought Hawaii deserved better. I thought that I had what it took to lead. And when people asked me like, oh, so you want to be governor? I was like, no, I don't want to just win this race. I want to become the governor. That means I want to be the person that people trust. I want to be the person that people think can lead. So there's a difference there in the mission I have in my life to become the best leader that I can.
That's amazingly said. I mean, and it's true, because you're willing to grow. And when everybody thinks they're grown up already and they know already and they don't want to listen because they know already, then there's no movement, there's no change. You can't do the same thing and accept a different result. You are here to learn, educate yourself, and understand from the people. And that's a huge difference. And I think it's evident in everything you're doing. I mean, me and my family, we voted for you.
Oh, thank you.
I'm just saying.
Well, and I'll bring up what Chris brought up about music is people thought there's this huge pivot away from my career, but I would argue that every day I still use my musical skills because a big part of being in office is listening. And I would argue that not a lot of people have really good listening skills. Yeah. Because listening is like where you can hear the nuances, you know what I mean? Like where you're so quiet that you're minusing yourself so that you can hear it. And then, of course, once I hear voices, I have to figure out, okay, where does this one go? Where does this one go? How do we blend this? Okay, dissonance here, resolve here. So I still use a lot of those techniques that I learned in school.
Wow. She sees a different matrix.
Yeah.
Instead of musical notes, you see challenges, problems.
There's a lot of dissonant voices in the community. And that's why when, at town halls or community meetings, when people get really angry, most elected officials are, I'm like, no, bring it.
Yeah.
Yell. Let your voice out. Yeah. Because I would rather somebody use their voice than not, right?
Yes.
So when someone's yelling and screaming, it's because they're so frustrated, but you gotta remember, you gotta remember it's not coming at you, You have to do something with that passion as a leader, but it's not towards you.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people take personal offense. I'm like, oh no, they're not mad at me, they're mad at Fossey. They're mad at some other guy that was running for office, not me.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm with you. Let's do this. Let's take these guys down.
But isn't that the right approach? Isn't that exactly the right approach? Because it's not personal. When the people come to complain, as a as a representative, you should listen, not take it personally and be like, take this guy out.
Yeah, yeah.
Because then it defeats the purpose.
Yeah, a lot of people have seen me live, on stage. I take live Q&As. He's done them. People are like, how in the world do you do Q&As? You don't know what's coming at you. I was like, that's the best part.
That's
the best part. Because you got to be good on the fly,
Yeah.
Somebody comes at you really hostile. You got to be able to boom, diffuse, everything okay, draw them in. It's real easy if you're able to again, take in that energy and then push it right back out and try to do something productive with it, right? So...
Wow, that's sensational.
Yeah, just a human like us, like a regular person, and that's what I think I first truly respected what you do when I got to meet you and talk to you, and I was like, oh, okay, she's like one of us, she's regular
real.
person, a normal. Because when we look at politics, or at least when I look at politicians, I almost don't see human.
Yeah.
I see a lot of just almost they're like robots, and do they even laugh?
Augie does. Augie.
Well, Augie, yeah.
Hey, Augie was on the show.
Oh, was he?
Of course, Augie was on the show, and we love Augie. We love him.
And I think that sometimes I feel that way too. This morning I was sitting by the musicians because I was one of the singers. It just makes me feel so much better to sit by the musicians than to sit with the politicians. Just because it's my people, the people with instruments, the people grabbing the mic, that's my people. And I feel the same way about Waianae. I feel the same way about the West Side. Mm-hmm. When I represent the West Side, I feel it. And when I'm with them, I feel like they're my people, I'm their people.
Yeah.
That's that love that you draw in when you love your community so much that you'll, go to bat for them. That's what I feel in my community.
That's what it takes.
So, I know I was trying to allude to a direction when I asked you about music and politics. You ever gonna record anything or what?
I've thought about it.
You know what I mean?
I've
like,
thought
because
about
you have all this talent.
She drops an album.
Understanding of music. Yeah. Does it interfere? I don't think it does, but
No.
I would like to enjoy some good music and see what kind of magic comes out of that brain of yours, you know?
I think it also humanizes me, you know, like I've talked to my staff because when I'm in that room and because I'm super, let me think of some nice words, articulate, assertive.
Yeah.
See how I'm carefully choosing the words that describe me. I do kind of come off like a. So when I do sing, then I'll be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like they're not as scared of me, you know, because
Yeah.
I can come off kind of scary sometimes because I'm like, we got to get this done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's just driven and motivated. But, you know, like recorded music, I think that's like, you know, I'm a huge music fan. That's why I asked. You know, I know you obviously are a music fan as well.
I am. My brother, he has his own rap album. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Pacific Soul. So he does like freestyling, which is something our family loves. Even my kids do it. All the cousins, so all my nieces and nephews, you drop a beat, these guys are flowing.
No way.
That's cool.
I kid you not. Because that's what we did growing up. Like if we were bored in the car, boom, drop a beat. We're just going. We're like vibing off each other. And so our kids do that when they get together. Yeah, it's just a thing. Like our family is just straight up performers.
Yeah. No, I know Island Air. Shout out. You know, the homie right there. But I never grow up. You know what I mean? So, like, I still love it. That's why I'm like, oh, yeah.
Well, do you have to grow up? I think you can still love it.
I love it all the way.
Yeah.
I'm going to take it all the way to my grave.
Well, I'll think a little deeper about that. I thought about it again this morning because I was warming up my voice in the car.
Yeah.
I was like, let's just do an album. Gosh, I got a doctorate degree. Let's do an album.
Just or at least, you know, you can slide in the angry locals, you know, background vocals, you know what I mean? Just some oohs and ahs where you don't know if it's her, but you kind of think it's her.
Which I, by the way, wanted to say you did grow up because by you also advocating for a lot of stuff and for a lot of change in every rap. Every song you put out there, every track,
it's so
you have
good.
a message.
Yeah.
You have something that you talk about. Yeah. If before you were talking about parties and drinks and whatever, now you talk about change and about what really the people care about. So I actually see a very close. I think you grew up.
Thank you,
if you haven't heard this guy, love you guys' stuff.
100%.
Yeah.
Legit.
Yeah, that's all on the record. Off the record, we still might have to bust out something, you know, straight from the ghetto, you know. You know, when the beat's going and flowing, you don't know what's coming out of your mouth.
You don't know.
That's the best, though. It just comes out, and you're like, yes.
Yeah.
That's
Hell
a
yeah.
vibe.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, I think, you know, people have asked me, how, you know, do you ever regret not getting a law degree? Because it is pretty tough. I'll say that. It's pretty tough to be a politician and not have a law background because it gets very hard to understand bills, laws, like where ordinances are, what words to change. Yeah, when I was a state house legislator for 4 years, I had to have people come in and... Being myself, I was like, can we please rehearse? They're like, what are we rehearsing? I'm like, I'm about to give a speech on the floor and like, I want to sound good. So like, I would rehearse with people because these words are new for me. Like, I didn't know if I was saying the right word in the right place. So I would have a bunch of like the prosecutors and lawyers sit in my office and I'm like, okay, I'm going to give my speech. So I'd give it and they'd be like, you're saying the wrong thing. I was like, hey, what am I saying? I really don't know. I was like, I know what I mean, but like these are new like vocab words for me. So
no, it is. It's very confusing for normal people. Like when I come to read bills and stuff like that, I have to sit there and try to make sure I understand clearly what it's trying to say.
Pretty difficult.
It's not black and white.
Yeah.
Like it's very dense around the
In my
facts.
research, you know, on you, you said something amazing, which I suddenly it changed my life just by understanding that what you were saying. You said, how can we vote on something if we don't talk about it? How can we, like, we don't know. It becomes like a yes or no. It becomes sides instead of really understanding what are we voting on. Like, what is this bill, what the bill really means. What is going to happen? And that's suddenly changed. I'm like, oh, shoot, those guys are just like, yay, yay, no, no, yay, yay. I believe not really people dive into the depth of each and every bill to understand, everything that will transpire if it get passed or if it won't.
right. And I think a lot of that I learned from getting a doctorate degree, but also from being a musician, is like, you have to be detailed, you know? So when we have a conversation about a heavy topic, you have to flesh out all the angles, because maybe you thought this, but you didn't think that. Maybe you thought this.
Yeah.
And I think back to your point about like, you know, hearing loud voices, when politicians don't want to hear loud voices, you know, like when they silence voices, or they're like, we don't know how to have a hearing because it's too controversial, like that ends up causing an eruption.
Yeah.
Like when you silence voices, it's just anger that stirs up, right? It's so much better when you release the voices, even if it's for hours and hours and hours of like yelling and anger. Like the release is so much better than the suppression. I've tried to explain to people this. You should take the yellings from the public rather than suppressing them. Like it'll go better for you, trust me. I think the longest hearing I ever sat in was about the rail. It was maybe like 2 days.
Wow.
2 days, 12 hours straight. You get up and use the bathroom, but you just sit and you listen and you just take it, right? People flying in from all the islands, but like that was good stuff, man.
Jeez.
Because people have all these nuances, right? They have thoughts about stuff you never thought about. They're like, oh, that's a good point. Oh, that's good. Oh, how does it affect Kauai? Oh, what are we doing here? Like, that's the point of a conversation, is to flesh out all those details so that as you make a decision that impacts the public, that you truly have looked through all of the impacts and made sure that it's actually the desired outcome that you want. Because sometimes it's not. If you don't flesh it out, it could do something that you don't intend to do. So
I'm taking the meeting wasn't at the rail station because nobody could use the bathroom there.
no. Couldn't be there because no more the bathroom. That's tough too, because, you know, even at the Capitol, including Honolulu Hale, I mean, you got to pay the quarters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're coming in to give a 1 minute or a 3 minute testimony, and you just feeding that meter outside. And I'm like, how hard are we making it for people to come and just give their voice? You know, it's so difficult.
Totally.
Not that much parking spaces. You got to have rolls and rolls of quarters on you. What do you got to do? Go to the laundromat, clean them out.
Right.
Yeah, I disagree with those parts, because I feel
I think this is the first thing that needs to be changed. Before we address all the big things, let's address the small things. Let's make it easy for the people of Hawaii to go and actually vote or propose or you know, be able to. It has to be more reachable, more accessible.
Yeah.
More inclusive.
More
You know,
inclusive.
It feels like an exclusive party that gets to make all the big decisions.
Yes.
And none of it's really publicized. We don't know half the stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
I work in radio and I don't even know half the stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah.
We need to be part of the decision making, because by the end of the day, we are the ones that carry the weight just as much as everybody. So we need to have our voice.
Well, I mean, I guess, you know, on the devil's advocate argument side, you wouldn't want people interrupting what your premeditated plans were, right? Some people don't. Not everybody gets into office to publicly serve, and we've.
I would agree with that.
You know, we've experienced that.
But let me tell you this. So if they sit five politicians to decide a matter that has nothing to do with people that have money and live in good areas, but they're on the committee and they're going to make the decision, they don't even know what about the area, the people. They're not living the same life. How can they make those decisions? They don't understand, right? For them, it would be like, oh, that's an expense of $450,000. We don't have the budget, right? That would be their driving force of yes or no. But if they would live in that neighborhood, if it would be someone from that place that could explain the real pain or the real challenges, then it would make sense, $450,000. You know what I mean?
No, you make a lot of sense there. A lot of sense. And when I ran for office and I had little kids, right, I felt like I was living the everyday life, because I'm running my kids to school. I'm seeing who the heck is running the DOE? Why are we paying all these taxes? So I think a lot of people are like, oh, it's so hard when you're a mom to do these. I'm like, no. I think it was really good for my kids to see it. And I think over time I learned how to like fold my children into like being with me at these events, instead of like, oh, go be babysat by so-and-so, or oh, go with your grandparents. Like I have them sit, listen to my speeches so they can hear what I'm talking about. And I think over time I realized like, no, it's so healthy if you have young children coming up with you through this decision-making process, so they can see what you do, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely good seeds to be planted, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe one of them will fix Hawaii.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, we'll see what my daughters do. They're both really into sports, but they both.
I think she has still a shot. I mean, I wouldn't go to the next generation. I actually put my
thank
money
you.
on you.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm
Yeah, no, I'm not giving this up. Not anytime soon, because I feel like we have like a little bit more runway to get some stuff done.
So let me touch a little bit of a sensitive topic, and
Sure.
it's not really. It doesn't matter. It just matters to me. I just want to know.
Let's hit it.
So when the three of you ran to represent the Republicans, you, Duke, and BJ, right?
No, so I
Who
never
was
ran
it?
this last time.
Oh, you didn't. Okay, so you
So
ran
in
the
this
one
last
before.
one, yeah, it was Heidi, Duke, and BJ, right? In the primary?
Oh, okay.
And I think a handful of other people. I forget. Yeah.
You
So-
ran the time before.
Yes.
Yes.
What are the challenges that you face? Did you really face that whoever is in the mix, is it easier for them? And then you come up, you have to fight way harder to get money and funding and raise and this and that? Or is it all like, oh no, it's easy, everybody can?
Okay, so nothing's easy. Although in my head, everything's easy. 'Cause I'm always like, let's take this place over. But yeah, when I ran for governor, obviously I was a Republican for 4 years. And a lot of people said that. Oh, you didn't get any bills passed. Oh, you don't know these things, which was true. But I was always a believer that the impact that you can make is not only tied to bills and finances. The impact that you can make to help people get a stronger mentality, to clean the road, or, small things where you can make bigger impacts. Sure, a lot of my colleagues are like, the heck is this girl doing cleaning the community all the time? Well, I believed that was the kind of impact that my community wanted to see. And it was also something that I could have a direct influence over. I didn't have to go beg for a budget. I didn't have to go get a bill paid or get a bill passed.
Yeah.
So I guess for me, like, the struggle was good and it didn't defeat me. So when I got to that point where I was like, I'm going to run for governor, my main goal, and I think I told this to Chris, my main goal was to try to track more leaders that were like me to run for office. So did I want to win the governor's race? Sure. But I also knew that I can't pull by myself. So in order for me to get more like-minded people into office, I'm going to have to rise to a level where people can see and say, oh, I'm like her, or oh, I agree with that, or oh, maybe I am Republican, or oh, maybe I can run for office. So I wanted that perception to be clear for people in my generation. Because I was like basically giving like the rally cry.
Yeah.
I was like, let's do this. Yeah. And I wanted people who lived here, and of course, a lot of my classmates and people my age who have moved away, to come back. Everyone who messaged me on social media or texted me, you're doing so great, I would text them, come home.
Yeah, right.
Come home and help me.
Yeah.
Because I cannot do this by myself.
Yeah.
So it was a good thing, and when I did, I cleared the Republican field and I got to the end, and I was the last person to run against David Ige. I think the tough part was that Trump was in office, right? So there was a lot of animosity towards
Against Republicans.
Yeah, against
Yeah.
Republicans, which at the end of the day, it is what it is, right? You have this, I don't know, people could hate me because I'm Samoan. People could be like, oh, you're from the West Side. Like, there's always going to be something that people are like,
Yeah.
don't like that. But like, you shouldn't shy away from who you are. Like, the more proud of every part of who you are, the more successful you are in life.
100%.
Right? So I was just like, this is who I am. Yes, I grew up Hawaii Kai. Yes, I represent Waianae. Yes, I ran as a Republican. Yes, I am a mom. Yes, I am half Samoan. Yes, I am a Native Hawaiian woman. You gotta own that stuff.
Yes, sir. There was like the 8 Mile Eminem last battle. I am a fucking bomb. I am a I am a I am a
I know.
Exactly.
I go beef now.
Yes!
I got me all juiced up. Hell yeah.
Let's go. All right, so now we're going to shoot at you a lot of other topics that we want to see your kind of point of view, and it's tough topics, I would say. I know there's a lot of things that you fight for actively as far as taxation and property tax. Give us a little bit of a background about this bill, about, property tax, that you say it should be just like a one sum and across the board, right? So instead of being fluctuating, so people can actually create a business plan and understand what I'm going to pay and stuff like that, right?
Oh, yeah. So it's called Truth in Taxation. The concept is implemented, I believe, in 4 states. So Texas has it, Utah has it, Kansas, and I think one of the mid-northern states. But the concept in truth in taxation is that from year to year, your property taxes don't flux with valuation. Right? So this year you got a bill if you own a home and you had no idea that now your property that was 400,000 is worth 750,000. So now you got to pay more property tax. Now, did your house change? No. Did your income change? No. You make the same amount of money. So you're like, wait, so just because the average amount of homes in my neighborhood went up, now I owe more taxes? So the concept of truth in taxation, one, is that every time there's a valuation change, that there's a public hearing. Then in the public hearing, they disclose, hey, last year we collected this much taxes, but because valuations went up, now we collected this much, and therefore we're bringing tax rates down. So it's a way to level it out where the income that you make from property taxes is always revenue neutral. So you're not making all of your money off of property tax and then hoping valuations go up. The point of having property taxes is every year we know we're going to make whatever it is, $4 billion, or for larger cities, right? And if we make more, then we bring the tax rates down and give it back to the people. If we make less, we bring the tax rates up because this is the baseline that we need to sustain the city costs. Yeah, trust me, nobody likes that idea. I thought it was genius.
Yeah.
I was like,
I think so too.
Yeah.
let's go revenue neutral. Like, let's stop. Like, oh, sorry guys, yeah, valuation's out of our control. Sorry, got to pay more.
Well, because I again, like a lot of reasons. What I imagine politics looks like when waters are muddy and there's all kinds of play like that. That's where you can scheme your way into and out of things. When things are so solid in rules, then there's not much room to play and kind of sneak in your own stuff.
Yeah. Well, and I think the transparency and truth in taxation is what I was looking for. So say we didn't do the whole adjusting rates. Say we just had public hearings. Like, I'm a fan of public hearings. Like, bring the voices. Like, what if we just had a public hearing? Because just this past year, 13% increase on the North Shore.
Yeah.
The West Side had, why not have a public hearing and let the people sound off? Like, because maybe they're going to bring up something that we should change. Or maybe they're going to say, hey, I didn't know about that program for low-income housing. Or, oh, I didn't know I could apply for this. Or, oh, I forgot to do my home exemption. What is the date again that it's due? Like, all that stuff's good. So I had introduced a bill just about that. Like, forget the adjustment of the rates, because that's what no one wants to do. Let's just have annual public hearings about property taxes, because we don't even have that.
Yeah.
So if you have issues, you're just like, who do you call? The number that nobody answers, like, that's where the frustration was coming. And so the city council is discussing a lot of different proposals, but for me, proposal number one in anything you're doing is gather voices. You got to.
Yeah, because nobody's going to tell you other than the people that are living it.
Yeah,
right?
you got to hear what they have to say. Don't say, oh, no, I know. You're frustrated. I can fix them. No, how though? You didn't listen to what I had to say about it. Listen to what I'm telling you. And that's the part where they are having like a permitted interaction group to discuss all of the property tax bills. But I would argue that it's not going to hurt us just to have a public hearing and just take notes.
And then correct me if I'm wrong. So a lot of outside investors invest in Hawaii, right? And then they drive up the price. And that price affects, by the end of the day, our property tax.
It could. The valuation is based on a median cost of the homes in your area.
Correct. So let's say you live on the North Shore.
North Shore is a good example.
The prices are always going up, and therefore they had a 13% increase, which is substantial.
It is.
From 1 year to, this is...
Well, and a lot of people who are on fixed income, they're like, where do I come up with extra money
also,
for
there's
that?
a difference between people from Kahuku, I guess, and
Sunset.
And Sunset.
Yeah. It's a huge difference. And part of the truth in taxation that I read from the other states even said that in the counties or in those towns where it's affected, you have to hold a meeting there. So back to my whole, let's not bring quarters for the machine.
Yeah.
Like, let's have the meetings where it's happening, have it in a cafeteria, have everyone come. Like, I think that would be the best.
If you want to listen.
Yeah, if you want to.
If you want to listen.
Yeah.
No, I want everyone to come. Like, come! I love it. I love gathering with the community. I think it's very healthy.
Again, that's if you want to change.
Yeah.
I don't know. The only change I see is changing salaries.
Ooh.
Ooh, that's our next topic.
Segue. Here we go.
Don't get her mad. I'm telling you, don't get her mad.
I know it must be tiring, considering how hard you fight, and you don't have a lot of people in the doors with you. You have all of us out here,
Yeah.
but we're not in the ring with you. You know what I mean? You have one brother in the ring with you, and he like throw hands already, guarantee.
He's talking about Augie.
Yeah, like.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, how are you feeling after all this? First off,
so he's talking about the 64% salary increase, which was, quite a controversial topic that unfortunately didn't even get a hearing, so no one got to really voice their concerns specifically on that topic. We had people come and voice their concerns about the legislative budget, which is peripherally related, and also to the eliminating outside employment, which is peripherally related, but we didn't really allow for people to just sound off on that topic, right? Which made a lot of people irritated, annoyed, and angered. So it was tough because we had heard that they were discussing this whole, okay, council members haven't had raises in the last 17 years and they deserve more and that they're comparable to a department head. Okay, just for clarity, a department head, not all of them, but various department heads, they run like departments of hundreds of people. Okay, so they're on the clock legit 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., even later, because they're running the department. I'm talking about the permitting department, the transportation department, the facilities maintenance. Like, these are the guys that actually paint the crosswalks, fix the lights. Like, so we don't run departments. As a city council member, I field complaints, I handle constituent concerns, I hold town halls, I propose bills, I try to change laws to benefit the people, but I don't have 100+ employees. I have 5. And 5. And they're helpful. They definitely help me so that we can serve the community. But yeah, I also disagree that we are on the same level as a department head, because we can't like fix the road for you. Like, we don't have access to machines. We don't run the parks. I can't make the guy in the lawnmower mow the lawn. Like, I'm not in charge of that. I have to call somebody who's going to do it for you. So I get it that that's also very helpful to the community, but I'm just making the point that I feel like we are more like workers, laborers. I would consider myself a laborer.
Well, you do put in that OT
right.
every week. You know what I mean?
I'm less of an executor in this position that I hold right now.
Yeah.
I am a laborer that like handles those concerns and then tries to execute on the ground, right? So there was just a lot of differences. People were like, well, it's whatever, comparable to this, and this many years hasn't have a raise. And I did also bring up the point that we also are not like any union or civil servants, because we get unlimited sick and vacation, because elected officials are a special class of employees. We don't work for the city. We work for the people who elected us. Yeah, so those are our bosses. Yeah. So I don't go in and put for PTO because I'm going to go out of town. Like, we make our schedule according to what the community needs, right? So all of these different things needs to be taken into consideration when you try to compare us to somebody who has only 14 days of sick leave, 2 weeks of vacation, And I also believe that when you see what we do, which I'm not saying like a small raise wouldn't be warranted, maybe it would, like, the only fair comparison you can make is to other elected officials. Yeah. So I made a little graph of all the other elected officials in cities that are comparable to ours, and I came up with an average median of 81,000. Okay, so we make 68,000 right now. So average median in all of these states that I compared, 81,000, but they had proposed 113,000 for our salary, right? Mm-hmm. So I wasn't just like, oh, I disagree. I was like, hey, here's some other ideas. Like, let's see if we can get to a more like better compromise for the people. But at that point, there was already a decision made that they didn't want to hear the voices of the people, and that they were just going to wait for July 1 to come so that it could be implemented. So it was unfortunate. The only way that you can stop a salary commission suggestion is the 3/4 of the city council has to reject it. So Augie and I did put the resolution to reject it, which even if we lost, so say I didn't get the 7 votes, which I'm pretty sure I didn't have 7 votes. Yeah. I mean, at least let people like give you some perspective, right? Like, oh, maybe like to just say, no, we're not going to have a hearing. I think that's what was really unfortunate.
I think that's what pisses us off, because by the end of the day, okay, if just hear us out, then make the due diligence, but not hearing us out and telling us what's good for us,
Or own your decisions.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you want to make that decision, so be it. Do it in public in front of all the other people.
Yeah.
Don't do it in private where no one really knows what you think about it. Like, and that's what me and Augie were saying is like that is the respect I have for my colleagues when they're like, hey, I disagree with you and these are the reasons. Like, oh, cool. Like I'm straight with you thinking different than me. This is what I think.
Yeah.
But I'm not cool with people just not talking about it. Like,
Well, and that kind of ruins, again, like for people like you and Augie who have, on the grand scheme of things, you're not just there to serve your communities, you're also trying to regain trust into politics, period. And I think for me, for someone who doesn't trust it at all, that just validates more of my argument of why I don't trust it. Because you have these, okay, you'll play by the rules when it's convenient. But when it's inconvenient, then you're going to do what you want anyway. You know, then you're no longer a public servant. You're there for yourself. That's all I see, right? I don't see all these guys who get these raises and have not said a thing about it. I don't see them as public servants. I don't see them there for the people. I see them just
Out of curiosity, can you have a job as a public servant?
yeah.
So you could hold a job and do the public servant.
Well, and so if you look back at some of the old Honolulu charters, the point of allowing council members to have outside employment was because they wanted the average citizen to represent the average people and come to the policy making table with common sense. You're a banker, you're a trucker, you're a DJ, you're a comedian, you're a music teacher. Then you can make policies that represent the people. So that's also where I didn't agree, because right after that happened, then boom, there's this bill to prohibit outside employment, and I was like, this is exactly what we're not supposed to do.
We don't need another politician.
Yeah, because now you want to do that full time.
Yeah.
Because you're so busy writing all these bills. I'm like, come on, like, you gotta be in the community, right?
Yeah.
You gotta be on the ground with the people. You have to cut out that time to do that, so that, like how you said earlier, so you know what that perspective is like. And so I think even more so I was, in disagreement with prohibiting outside employment, because I feel like we're taking more and more steps towards these like professional politicians, which is not what I signed up for. So
Jeez.
And it's, again, my perspective. I know there's other perspectives out there. So
Well, my perspective was they was firing off at Augie. That's all it is. It's like, oh yeah, you like fight us, we're gonna fight you. No career for you on the outside of his public serving.
Well, and
again, it's just personal, right? Like it's absolutely not the fact, not true. It's just what I saw.
But I also was like empathizing with him, because as a musician, like, you're just on the hustle,
Yeah.
He's an entertainer. Like, you always have these side gigs, right? I teach piano at night. He like MCs at grad parties. Like, we do these things because that's our background, right? Like, that's what my degree is, and I still do music every now and then.
And you shouldn't forget who you are and what you do because you decided to help the community. The opposite. You should continue to be who you are and dedicate part of your time to make this place a better place.
Yeah, and now you guys don't got to worry about how you're paying bills. Like, we don't got to even look at you like, oh, you got to make more money to support yourself, because you're doing it on your own,
Yeah.
I can't tell you how happy I was when I saw that Augie is performing and going on fucking tour and stuff. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so happy.
Yes.
There was not even a split millisecond that I thought, oh, he's a public servant. Why is he working? The opposite. I'm like, yes, he's... You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He's part of us. He's he's in a hustle.
I mean, who in the Hawaii does not work 2 or 3 jobs? I'm just saying. Like, if you're not working 2 or 3 jobs, then you don't know the everyday struggle.
You don't get it.
You don't
get it.
Like, and that's more steps away from, like, having that congruence with your constituency. Like, you're supposed to represent the people and be like them, like, so I guess to your point, like, my huge disagreement with it was that I just felt like it's not the direction of what we're supposed to do as public servants, but also when the salary increases, will you get better services? No.
So true.
Because come July 1st, is your grass going to get cut 2 times at the park instead of 1 every year? No. Sorry. Same. Are we going to get 20 more police officers in your community because our salary went up? No. That was more defeating to me, because I was like, I don't want to be taking more money and know my community gets the exact same service. Like, that's going to be really hard, for the community to be like, okay, you don't answer your phone anymore now. I was like, yeah, because we answered the phone the same as we did on June 30th. June 30th, July 1st. Like, same amount of answering.
Yeah.
Like,
Sucks now. You can't even get your car washed because people going to look at you like, oh, look at her now.
Yeah, washing the car.
you better go get your 64%. Yeah. Well, there is a way. I am going to write a memo to not take the salary. So you can do it individually to hold your salary at the same level. So that's what I'm going to do.
Could you reallocate it?
So I'm not allowed to put it into different budgets. It just goes back to the general fund. And then, of course, people are like, oh, you should just take it and donate it. But you also have to remember that it's kind of like how HPD does it, where you make a certain amount of money, they're also allocating retirement for you, right? So the higher salary you are, like, I was just trying to explain to people, like, sure, you can take the money and then just donate it, but also you're going to be starting to acquire really big retirement fund at the same time. Because, well, I don't know how it happens for council members, but after X amount of years, right, you have this lump sum and then you make the high amount of what you made for those years that you work for the city. So,
jeez.
yeah,
well, you're looking way ahead, huh?
Yeah. I'm kind of a nerd. So, I mean, I'm trying to think through the whole thing, right? Because I tried to think through the whole thing, which was, I'm going to lose this fight, but it was a fight worth fighting. What happens when we do lose the fight? How do I proceed? What do I do? So, gotta always have a plan B.
Yeah, true. What, these guys eye you out now?
I think there's still a lot of camaraderie between us. And I've tried to explain that to people too, is like, I've been in really severe fights with my colleagues, which you should be, to be honest. Like, if you're advocating fiercely for your community, you should have some disagreements. You shouldn't just everything kumbaya, oh yes, oh I yes too. No, you should bring some dissonance to the table, because I represent a population that's not like yours. So after it's done, you got to put that down. You got to move on.
Yeah.
You got to, because we have other things that we do agree on, right?
Yeah.
So me and Matt on the North Shore, we're trying to get a bill through to get the setbacks for the windmills, because we don't want those in Kuku anymore.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Me and Esther, we agree on a lot of Native Hawaiian issues. Like, me and Tyler, we've been working on a bunch of stuff to like stop game rooming and like a lot of illegal activity around the game room. So I always say, work together when you can, work alone when you have to. It's how you get through this.
Okay, that's good.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah. I just tell everybody, when you see these guys and they come up to your register, just, charge them a little extra. They can afford it. That's us. We the people. That's our power. You know what I mean? If we were, strong enough as a community, we could. But anyway.
Those weren't too bad. Those weren't too hard topics. What else you got?
Ooh, so that actually led us to the DPP. You said DPP, and every time you say DPP, I want to jump out. I'm calming myself down.
What is DPP?
Oh, Department of Planning and Permitting.
Oh.
And according, Bill 18, while you were working on Bill 18, she realized that 8,000 permits are waiting to be approved. 75% of them are residential. So people like me and you just trying to build a home, right? We try to get, like, let's say you try to get a good deal, right?
Yeah.
You bought a tear down.
Yeah.
Did you know that you can't tear it down?
Gotta get a permit to demo.
Gotta get a dude, you want to break it? You gotta get a permit from the DPP to break it down.
So you need somebody to give you permission to take out the trash.
Exactly.
Right? Like, it's just trash. I gotta get rid of it.
No, like, no joke.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I'm not at the level of like buying houses and stuff. I know we were trying to extension on my other half's family home, but they told me, bro, it's gonna take like 1-2 years.
Yes.
To get permission.
So check this out. Let's say you bought this property, right? Now you pay mortgage, right? You need to start paying every month, but you don't. You thought it's gonna take you what, 6 months, like on the mainland, 8 months, whatever. Going to take you 2 years. In the meantime, you're going to pay it, because now you first have to get a permit to tear it down. Then you got to haul it out. Then you got to put in a permit to build, and that will take some time.
Jeez.
And they're missing, like, I don't know how many. They're short like 60 people, 60 inspectors or something.
Her ideal number is to get 80 more people in the department to help with code review, plan review. So Department of Planning and Permitting is over a lot of different things. It could be like your own home. It could be commercial. It could be affordable housing. It could be just you trying to put up a fence.
Jeez.
Yeah, so I just recently passed Bill 56 last week.
You passed.
Yeah, so it's passed. It's in law. So Bill 56, actually, I touched the what I call the DIY section of the law because it was all the exemptions. Meaning, like, for this, you don't need a permit. For this, you don't need a permit. So when I had come to this huge mass of permits stuck in the pipeline, the first thing I thought was, how much people can we get out of the line?
Yeah.
Like, who shouldn't be in the line, right? So I looked at what we call the exemption section of the law, and there was a lot of things that were outdated. So right now, or prior to my bill passing, you could only do electrical, plumbing, and component replacement work up to like $500 to $1,000. Which at this point, like even just to buy countertops, it's like in the thousands.
Yeah.
Even just to do tile in your bathroom.
So when they set the number, it was back then, right? So right now for $1,000, then the electrician not going to put nothing in.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So they're exempting nothing.
Nothing.
So I raised the valuation caps. Of course, I wanted some of the valuation caps to just come off because, again, if you're just doing component replacement, which is this is broken, I'm putting in the same exact thing. I'm not changing walls. I'm not creating new rooms. Like, for me, component replacement, I thought should have no cap. Well, we had to go back and forth the department, so we got it up to 10,000, which is still kind of low because that's labor and materials.
Jeez.
Yeah, so, well, tried. I also got in a solar one, so all of the solar systems that need to be replaced, not upgraded or not enlarged, you now don't need a permit for that.
Wow.
I also got in a fence one, so now fences over 6 feet don't need permits. Like
Wait. Say that again.
Fences under 6 feet don't need permits. Prior, any fence over
Yeah.
30 inches needed a permit. Over 30 inches.
What the hell?
What
Yeah.
fence is that? Whose fence is that? That's 30 inches tall.
Well, you know, back in the day, Filipinos never go past.
As soon as I saw that one, I was like, we need to fix this fence because we shouldn't be getting permits for fences. Like, if it's not in the flood zone, it's not on a corner, just put up your fence.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, why?
Why can I secure my house with a fence? Why do I need to have someone giving me the permit?
Well, and then a lot of times people say, well, you know, you got to have a contractor and you need to make sure they're licensed. Okay, so if you own your home and you're investing in your home, why would you do a crappy job? Right?
100%.
Like, I'm just saying, this is not stuff for like, oh, you and renter. Most of the people doing construction of their homes, they own it.
Yeah.
So you're not going to do a crappy job when that's the house you bought and
Yeah.
you invested in your family.
You live in it.
Yeah.
It's
you're
your
not going to do
investment.
junk tile.
Yeah.
You're going to do good, you know. So we had to go through a lot of conversations, but I was super happy that bill got passed and it's in law. So I'll be doing a couple of videos on that so that people
Yeah,
will
please
know.
do, just so the community knows, because
Yeah.
this is a very important thing. Just upgrading it into 10,000 in certain different areas is very important, especially for people that buy old houses and just want to renovate just something small, just it happened to us so many times that we just got stuck, and you just don't want to do you cannot buy a house because, by the time I renovate, the mortgage that I will pay and this and I'm just going to continue.
Well, yeah, because if you wait that long for a permit, boom, your interest rate on your loan goes up. Boom, materials cost more than last year than this year. So, like, those are all things that make it hard for people to live in Hawaii. These are the kind of things we got to think about. If we're making it harder for people to live here, we're not doing the right thing.
Yeah.
We're not.
True
100%.
that. Hold on. I gotta do this for you then. Oh, what if?
What is it?
Why? Sorry. Sorry, I just got it. That's badass, bro. That's tough.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah,
Awesome
I mean,
stuff.
this is making a change.
Yeah.
And I have a handful of others. The one you mentioned with Bill 18, it's called a residential assignment inspection. So right now, if you don't get your permit and you're doing a commercial project, you can start without the permit. They'll send an inspector to ensure that everything is going well.
Yeah.
And then you have to get the permit by the end. That's only for commercial.
Yeah.
So prior to me proposing this, my proposal is that we allow that for residential.
Genius.
Meaning that if you have a certain amount of, your documents ready, sure, you're in line waiting for the permit. Let them proceed, send in an inspector, at least start the process. So that one is on its second reading. So hopefully that one will pass soon. But I'm trying to think of things that'll help local families.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is what I believe lawmakers should do is you should look for ways to make it easier for your community members to live here and not just make up bills that we don't need.
So that just to touch on Bill 18, when I opened my one of my establishments, of course, the GC said, oh, we can start, don't worry, it's in process, and we took a third-party review and whatnot just to expedite it and all that good stuff. And then when I bought a home for me and my family, I'm like, okay, let's start, and we'll be okay, we're gonna say, no, you cannot. I said, what do you mean you cannot? I just did it with my business. He said, it's different. I said, what do you mean?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense why it would only work for commercial.
So you know why? Because once you open the doors, the state capitalizes on the excise tax and all that other stuff. So they want you to open as soon as possible.
Well, and I think my bigger thing is that, to your point about missing workers, like, sure, I can continue to manipulate or change the law to work for us, but we still need more workers. So I had proposed a resolution to bring in a relief workers. You guys remember during COVID when they had the whole thing set up at the convention center for unemployment?
Yeah.
When crap hits the fan and you can't get government work done, you have to bring in relief workers. So I'm trying to explain to them, like, we're at the point where you need relief workers. If you cannot process permits and there's 8,000 in the backlog, we need relief workers.
This is so true.
So
how come nobody says the same? And how come that it doesn't look like it's so simple? It's so simple.
Yeah, like, what is the threshold where you tell yourself this is an emergency? I better hire more people.
Yeah, if you have 8,000 families waiting, or 75% out of 8,000.
And that's a number. What if we did the dollar value?
Yeah.
The dollar value of 8,000 permits is how much million?
Holy cow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how much is stuck in the economic pipeline in Honolulu because we can't get a permit out.
Yeah.
I think we're in an emergency. I say we're in an emergency.
I agree.
So I met with the president of HGEA, which is the union for government workers, and he's all about it. Because I said, would you oppose just on a one-time, maybe 1 year, 2 year span while they get the 80 new workers that we hire relief workers? He's like, absolutely. Because he said, I don't want my workers to feel burnt out. With the small amount that they have in there, everyone feels stressed out in that department. So he said, it'd be better if we hire relief workers. He's like, I have a permit waiting. I was like,
Everybody has a permit.
Everybody's waiting for a permit. So, yeah, so no one's against it, but it's like moving those small wheels, right? I even had a bill or a resolution for them to get a solar app, which is a federal app made by the federal government to basically automate solar approval. Of those 75% of residential permits, 60% of them are solar. So I had met with the department.
This is so dumb.
Yeah. Tell me about it. So I met with the department, and I'm like, why can't we just use this solar app that pops out permits like automatically? I said, and again, we're a bigger city because we have 1 million right in Honolulu. So a lot of the cities that the federal app is helping is a little smaller. But I said, this still is what we need, though, for people to go into an app, get their permit for their solar, get them out of the building line, get them out of the...
Yes.
Yeah. So, wait, hold on. You guys are going to love this part. So we had a meeting with the guys who run the app and the guys from the city, and we couldn't get it going because the Department of Planning and Permitting doesn't have an automatic electronic payment system.
What? They don't have an e-commerce?
You still have to walk in a money order or a check into the department to pay for your permit.
2023, just memo 2023.
And it's nothing.
This is Hawaii.
Yeah,
guys.
federal is already moving to cryptocurrency. They don't even have the fucking...
Well, and I'm not downing the department because it's not their fault. It really is like the IT infrastructure in our city. I'm just like, man, attach Cash App, whatever you got to do, like attach an electronic payment processor. Let's get this going. So they are trying to make the moves towards that. But like, I was just like,
tell them there's a thing called Venmo.
I was like mind blown. I'm like, we can't use the app because we don't have an electronic payment processor. At that point, I didn't even know that. I was like, you can't swipe a card? They're like, oh no. I was like, So they're trying to fix it. Like, I am going to update people on that because that was like kind of horrific for me. I was like, oh my gosh, guys, we got to get this done right away.
Yeah, they should start with those things, with the small things that it's easy to fix.
Let's get an electronic payment processor, guys.
Easy.
But we do accept shills. If you have 30 gold coins, we will take your permit.
Oh my gosh. I know I should give my 64% raise to go buy a payment processor. Please get an electronic payment processor for the city. I'll give all my money for it. Like, I just, those are the small things, right? And I'm, again, love the director, Donna Puna. She's awesome. I love working with her. These are the obstacles she's up against. She's up against not enough workers, trying to get our budget fiscal services, to get an electronic payment processor. She has all these hills she has to climb. So what I, do in these Bill 18, Bill 56, those are the things I can do as a legislator. I can change the law. So I told her, I'm going to stay in my lane and do all these changes. I need you to get into your lane and you tell me what help you need, because I'll help you get to the end. So we've been working really well together.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love to see that actually results. You actually bring things to the table that the community going to enjoy, going to benefit from. And that goes a long way. You're changing people's lives, and that's better than, anything, I believe. Better than filling up the Madison Square Garden and singing a song.
Yeah.
She changes thousands of people's pockets, end of the month,
bringing solutions.
Bottom line solutions.
Yeah.
And now we're going to touch homelessness.
I knew you were going to say that. I was like, how come they haven't brought up?
She heard the notes in your voice, bro. She was like,
Right?
it's coming.
Oh,
It's coming.
homeless.
Yeah.
Oh, I felt that too. I was like, here it comes, homelessness. Okay, hit me with the question.
It's really a controversial issue, and I completely understand that. I know that lately the state came up with an idea to, and I can't remember the exact amount of dollars they're going to be dedicated to that, but they're going to send homeless people back to their state.
Yeah.
The people that are out of state and homeless here, they're going to send them back. What do you think about that idea?
I think that one of the main reasons why individuals are homeless is lack of a support system. So even when I encounter a homeless person, the first question I ask is, where's your parents? Where's your family? Right? Because for whatever reason, you have come to the point where you don't feel like you can ask for help, because everyone has a connection, right? Maybe you severed that relationship with your brother, your sister, your grandma, your grandpa. Is that mendable? Can we take steps back towards that? So to your point, do I agree with that? If a person is going to be able to reconnect with a support system, yes. Because I think that's what we all need in life, right? Is like people who support us, people who are going to like, okay, I'm going to help you out. And some of the areas in Waianae, like they are in what we call encampments because they help each other. Yeah. Now there's other areas where they're not. And definitely in those areas where they live alone, you can kind of tell what kind of temperament they have, because other people don't want to live around that. But again, everything that happens in this life is based around community. I feel like that's like from the beginning of this world, people wanted to depend and build relationships.
Tribalism, want to be together, of course.
Yes, so a lot of what I do in my community is building that. And I just started a program last year called Restore, Reconnect, Revive. And so I went out in June of last year and I walked with some of the service providers and some of the police officers, because I had waited. I wanted to see what the city was going to do. And every time they came to talk to us at the city council, they said, we're working on a homeless plan. We're working on a homeless plan. So finally, like in year 2, the mayor's year 2, I was like, okay, hypothetically, if you finish your homeless plan, are you going to include Waianae? They were like, oh no, it's just for Kaka'ako. I was like, well, I would have moved a long time ago if I knew my community wasn't going to be involved, because I could just design it myself. Yeah. So yes, I was disappointed, but in my mind I was like, green light, let's move. So I started to create my own idea. But again, back to my whole I collect voices. The first thing I do whenever I solve a problem is fact find, right? So before I go in, I'm going to solve homelessness, okay, walk the walk the beaches, see what's happening, see if you can, start to understand maybe what needs to change. So we met at depots, right across Nānākuli.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and they have bags of, chips, and I was like, oh, are we giving out chips today? They're like, yeah. I was like, oh, interesting. So we start walking. I was like, wait, hold on. Are we, is there paperwork we should fill out, in case they want, a job or a house or, I don't know, an ID? They're like, oh, no, we don't take that because we just make appointments with them. I was like, you make appointments with homeless people? I mean, because a lot of them don't really have reliable cell phones or places. So I was kind of like, oh, interesting. I never rocked the boat, but still I was like, is there notepads we should be taking notes on? Oh, no, we're just going to walk. I was like, okay. So I'm like, oh, shut up. So I just like keep walking, and of course I'm talking to people. I recognize some of the people on the beach. I know they're family members. So like the first thing I thought was like take notes, right? Take notes. Who are they? What's going on? Like what are the struggles? And a lot of the other providers, some of them were being helpful, some of them weren't. Some of them were like, oh, I know that guy. No need to talk to him. Oh, I don't know about this. So I was a little dismayed because I was like, should we help everyone? I mean, again, I'm naive, right? It was my first day doing it, so I didn't want to say too much. But one lady, when we went to it, they had a cell phone and they're asking the lady for her info. And I was like, do you think we could just let her do it for herself? You know, because if you're on a website and she has a phone, because I can see her phone, should we give her the link maybe so she can do it herself? I mean, her hand's not broken. Yeah. You know, like, I'm just thinking out loud, like, should we teach people where to go to do this? I was asking these questions because we don't have enough manpower to be doing things for people.
All the time,
like, teach this lady how to fill it out on her phone or on a piece of paper and then tell her where to go turn it in so she can do the follow-up. Because what, you're going to come back out here and follow up for her? Let her do it herself. Like, it'll make her a stronger person too. And then she'll share with the 2 other people in her tent how to get welfare or whatever you're helping her with. So there's a lot of questions in my mind on effectivity of what we're doing. Very little manpower. Lots of people with no stable locations. We got to be smart about this. Can't be wasting time. And no one was taking notes. And I was like, how do you even remember like what so-and-so said to you about his ID or what she said to you about her 2 kids that she's trying to get into preschool? Like, write that crap down, you know? So the very next week I was like, I'm doing it. My staff is like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm starting my own program.
There it is.
Yeah, so I just wrote it out. I wrote like an 8-page proposal called Restore, Reconnect, Revive. That the main idea is to restore public spaces to the public. I think that that's a huge component that's missing. Is like communicating clearly, like this is a public space and you're not supposed to be here actually, because this beach is for everyone, not for 5 people. So like a lot of the communication I felt like was not accurate. So when you're out there and you're telling people, oh, when you're ready, go ahead and fill this out. That's not correct. Sorry, this area is not where you're supposed to be permanently living. So I'm going to show you how we can reconnect you. You know, those are the kind of words you should communicate, not when you ready. Like,
100% agreed.
I was like, why is everyone saying when you ready? I don't like that phrase. I was like,
you also don't tell your kids, when you're ready, just come and do your homework. Just when you're ready. No, do your homework. And when you're done, do everything else.
Yeah, so all of the accountability and the timelines were missing. So I was kind of confused. And then they had like a time where the officers came out and they cleared. And I heard someone say like, oh, it's okay. If you don't need that stuff, just leave it there. I go, wait, hold up. Is this trash? They were like, yeah. I was like, okay, thank you so much. Take this trash to the trash receptacle. Please don't leave it over here. I don't even tell my kids, leave your stuff if you don't need it. I was like, why are we saying stuff like that? These people are good people, and if you teach them how to do it, they'll do it. So I got everyone into a whole new mindset in the area that we were working in. So the second part is restore, reconnect. I wanted to reconnect people to services, but like rapidly. Not like, oh, I'll make an appointment with you next month. Like, no, today we're getting your ID. Stuff like that, you know? And then the last thing is I wanted to revive how we're doing the outreach by having accountability and timelines. So for 16 weeks, we set up an outreach 4 days a week from 5 to 6 and served hot meals. And on the tables, we had different people, like the guy helping with community court, the lady helping with IDs, this guy helping with housing, this one helping with wound care. Here's some clothes if you guys need it. Here's the showers. Like, so every week, every day, 4 days out of the 16 weeks we were there at that church, I only worked in 2 blocks. So a lot of homeless came and like, oh, can I join? I'm like, sorry, where do you live? Oh, I was like, I'm just doing these 2 blocks right here. They're like, wait, so I can't come? I'm like, so I have technically no staff for this program. I'm just making crap up as it goes. So I was like, you gotta have patience with me. They're like, oh, can I join later? I was like, yeah, I'm gonna start them again next year. I'll invite you. Where you stay? Okay, I'll invite you. Don't worry about it. But I was trying to tell people that the more people I help, the less helpful I become. So like if I can help less people, I can help them from A to Z instead of A to B. Like I wanted to help them like all the way. So we cleared that area from Nānākuli depots, like just to where McDonald's is in Nānākuli. It's only 3 blocks. It's a small area. But like our communication had to be clear. We were providing hot meals, which to me was a more appropriate way to talk about resources. Like come and eat a meal with me, maybe like have a hot meal, and let's talk about like things that are pretty difficult for you to talk about. Because, like, even when we were walking the beach, when I went that first time, I was a little taken back that, like, people were just waking up and like, oh, hey, you want to fill out a housing application? I was like, he just woke up.
Yeah, right.
I was like, he's probably hungry.
Ain't nobody trying to sign no papers. Yeah,
I was like,
right out of bed.
should we wait? Are we good right now? Oh, my God. Like, I didn't know any better, so I was just like... I just know myself, and like I need to be in the right mindset to like fill out paperwork.
Yeah.
Like even if it's for my daughter's field trip, whatever, I can't be driving. I have to be like seated, and I have to be like, okay, what is this? Okay, like. So I wanted the hot meal to be a way for us to share space, right? Share space, say this is who I am, this is who you are. But then I also had folders. So when everyone came in, I was like the bouncer, so I took attendance. So when they came in, I was like, John, here's your folder. Okay, yesterday you worked on jobs. Looks like you didn't finish your application. Don't forget to finish it. Food's over there. I'll talk to you after. Like, so every single person, I knew where they were at. I was like, okay, let's see. Jody, all right. Auntie Jody, you got to still work on your medical. Yeah, we got the guys for sign up for your medical. They're right there. Okay, go get your food. Sit over there, that table. Next. Like, every single person, because I'm the kind of person, like, I'm not going to waste my time. Like, if you're here... that means you want something. Because there's plenty of homeless that never came.
Yeah.
So if you came, you want something.
Yeah.
You want help.
Yeah.
You want to better yourself.
I wanted to help the goers go. So if you want to go somewhere, I'll help you. And when people would come like, oh, you guys have hot food? I was like, sorry, do you want to join my program? They were like, this is a program? I was like, yeah, you got to come every day for 16 weeks, like as much as you can. And then we're going to help you like with, getting your life into a better quality that, I'm good. Okay, cool. See ya.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people who just choose to be homeless.
Which is
just,
like,
it's just the way it is.
You can't force people to make different decisions, right? But I am in the business of helping the goers go. I can help with that. I can call employers and be like, hey, this guy came for 4 weeks straight. I know he doesn't have an ID. I know he's homeless, but could you please give him a job? I did that for 9 people. Got them jobs at Wine Ice Store. Ooh. Yeah, like... because a lot of these guys, like, I think have lost purpose, right? So
yeah.
I also think that we don't always have to approach it like, oh, you need housing. Okay, yes, everyone needs housing, but like we could start with a job instead of housing.
Yeah.
We could start with ID instead of housing. We could start with getting your kid into preschool instead of housing. Like, I just feel like the conversation's organic and you should start wherever the starting starts. Like, it doesn't have to be with like, fill out a housing form, because some of these people, honestly, will not do well by themselves in a house. They need extra mental help. They need like some support, right?
Yeah.
So like you can't just make those diagnoses like right when you meet somebody, which was something else that kind of shocked me when we walked the beach, because I was like, how well do we know what's going on here? So in 16 weeks, when I saw people so frequently, it's like you start to like really know their story, right?
Yeah.
Okay, where are we coming from? Oh, your auntie lived in Nānākuli. Okay, let's talk to her. Oh, Tiara over there. Okay, don't go over there. Like, because you really got to know like what are all the challenges that you're up against, because some of these challenges, to be quite frank, they're tough.
Yeah.
They're tough. I'm not trying to say that you coming out of jail and then having this and this and this happen to you somehow makes it like super simple to get into housing. It's not. Like, these people, some of them that I've encountered, like, I don't know if they'll ever be able to get a job because of their background, right? You really got to start to develop trust. So I got to know all of the employers in Waianae as well as Kapolei, and tried to figure out who would take a call from me and possibly give somebody a chance. Because to me that mattered, right? Is like not only giving them a chance, but like one of the things I told everybody that came to my program, do not say things that you can't do. Because a lot of these guys have had a lot of people lie to them. A lot of people give them false hope.
Yeah.
So if you go, oh yeah, let me help you with housing, I'm like, hey, don't say that. You own a house. Yeah. You're not helping with housing. You're helping with the application. Say that.
Right.
So true. True.
It's like, don't say that kind of stuff. You're not going to give him a house.
True.
So a lot of people would fill out the application for the job. Oh, here you go, Andria. Like, oh, sorry. What do you think I'm going to do with this? Walk this over and get your job. They're like, I got to walk in. And I was like, want that job. Want it.
Yes.
Like, give them that application. I was like, here, I'll let you put my name as a reference. I did. Yeah. Everyone's like, hey, if you put her name, you'll get a job. Put her name right here.
Yeah.
And it was fine, because a lot of the employees would call me and be like, who's this person? I give them the background. I'm like, you know what? They're actually one good person. I said, I think you should give them a shot. Some of them like peeled off. A lot of them still have the jobs they have. But, just having somebody vouch for you, like, that feels so good, Yeah. Just to be like, hey, you know what? I can be a trustworthy person. Like, maybe I have some warrants in my history. I have some citations, some violations, but we gave a lot of these people opportunity to enroll in community court. In community court, they'll convert your ward into like community service, but it takes work. So we got the prosecutors there, the public defenders, like, so this program that I'm running, Restore, Reconnect, Revive, the idea here is not getting everyone into a house. It's actually providing these services and seeing if we can empower them to do what they need to do, right? I'll put it all in front of you. You show up every day, I'll see what I can do to help you, you know? So this year we ran it in 5 areas. I had one in Kapolei, one in Nānākuli, one in Lualualei, one in Waianae, one in Makaha. And we did the same thing. Yeah, I know.
Is there any way where our listeners, people can get involved, can donate, or can try help you to accomplish this mission?
Yeah, you know, the main thing that I really need, and surprisingly, it's not food and it's not clothing. It's time. You know why? Because a lot of people, they need people that have a high level of like understanding like business. And so the two places that I really felt like we lacked was like vocational training. So meaning like if somebody's coming to my program and they finish their application for their ID, they finish their like, can we help them to get the skills they need to get a job, right? So I have involved the Rotary Club in Makaha to like help me with that, because I do think that when they come in, a lot of the community members like, a homeless person, like it shouldn't be like that. It should be like, oh, you know what? I work over here. Like, this is what we do. What do you guys, you know, seeing if you have commonalities, seeing if you can offer like, oh, we're renting a room in our house, like, you know, getting to know people. So I feel like I have a lot of the other stuff, because in Waianae, a lot of people give out food. A lot of people give out clothing. I'm not saying we don't need it. I'm just saying that what I've really noticed is that I need people's time. Like, can you come and sit for an hour and like help me run this? And sometimes 2 people come, sometimes 25 people come. But as people come, like, are we ready to receive them? Are we ready to like help them with what they need? So we are going to run it in 5 areas again, starting in August. So I run it in cohorts. I run it for 16 weeks break, because I'm nestling all of these programs in churches. And you know why? It's because when the program is done, I want them to know where a support system is at. Because I can't do this forever for you, but if I can help you build good relations in the community.
But everybody can come, regardless of your religion.
Oh yeah, because it's like every church in Waianae. Like anybody who says yes, I'm like, you're in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had Ark of Safety running one, we had Assembly of God running one, we had the Samoan Church running one, we had City of Joy running one, and then Ulua'e, which is in Kapolei. It's a nonprofit, not a church. They ran one for me. So anyone that came to the table, I was like, you're in. You're in. So I was grateful because they're opening their doors. They're giving me their time. They're having their church members fill out folders with them. And
they're great support systems. Churches, like the people in church, I mean, like they're just amazing when it comes to having empathy, patience with understanding what you need.
Well, and I think a lot of the people that have asked me, especially when the program's not running, where can I take a shower? Where can I get hot food? And to be honest, like we don't have places that 24/7 you can do that. But maybe you can get to know this church, and maybe on a Tuesday night they do have fellowship. I don't know.
You know, that's an idea that I have. You sign a deal with 24 Fitness, right? $19 a month from the state, and they can shower whenever they want. All the homeless can go, they shower, they do whatever they want. They can work out.
Membership.
Yeah.
Right there, $19. They can no need build them nothing.
Yeah.
That's
Just memberships, huh?
That's an idea.
Yeah, so for everybody, right?
That is an idea, because I really am trying to stay in the community areas. So instead of like bringing all these resources into Waianae, I'm trying to get everyone's eyes open to what we have already. Because I would argue that we have a lot of resources in our community. So I'm trying to explain to people like it's just across the street. You're just going here. And bus passes was a tough thing. So I bought a bunch and gave it to people once they got jobs so that they could commute to where they needed to go. But yeah, it's going pretty good. We definitely could still use help.
All right. You know, there's a narrative going around, not necessarily for Hawaii, but on the mainland. They said, I know in a lot of other podcasts that we're talking about it, that if they fix the homelessness problem, those people won't have a job because they fixed the problem. And I know there's also, I believe there must be people also in that kind of approach on the island, and it's really amazing to see how much humanism you have, how much you're such a human, you're such a loving person, like a mother that really cares, that really wants to ask questions and solve problems, not just to say, like really, really get to the bottom of this. And I always tell everybody, all my staff, I say, don't say answers, ask questions, because the more you ask, if you can get free knowledge, free opinions, it's always good. Then you can do your due diligence. You can decide whatever you want according to what you know. But at least get some more info. And the fact that you do that is really, really inspiring. And if there's anything that my company can do to support you, I know we're in Waikiki. We do have our own homelessness problem, different homeless probably. But yeah, if there's anything that we as a company can help you and your community, we would love to do that. And I'm not just saying that because we're on the podcast. I'm saying that because I really care. And when I see people giving so much love, I just want to go behind it and support, because I feel that love is the answer. And by the end of the day, whoever is a mature grown-up understands that love is the answer. We tried everything else, yeah?
I love that. But I will be honest that a big belief that I have is that our community should help our community. Even when I do the cleanups, a lot of people are like, oh, I'll come from Kaneohe and help. I'm like, no. The people who live on the street, they're going to clean up. I was like, don't you worry about it. Yeah. I'm going to get everybody involved. Because I want there to be community ownership. I want there to be pride. I want there to be this, this is the place we call home. This is our land, Yeah. So a lot of the times when I clean up abandoned cars or whatever it is, I really go door to door. I remember one time I was right by Māʻili Elementary. And it was all these burnt cars, and I came with all these front loaders, and we were grabbing, smashing, stacking, strapping. We were moving all the cars off the street. People coming out of their house filming, oh my gosh, Andria Tupola's here. And then this one guy goes, where's all your workers? I was like, it was just me out there. I was like, I don't have any workers. I was like, how about you put your camera down, come out here and help me? Because I legit don't have any workers. I have access to machines and stuff. But if you want to get out here and help me, come out and help me. Yeah, so I really do appreciate the help, but I really try to draw on our community because I believe that they're strong enough. I believe we have the resources. And I believe my approach is what's going to help make our community stronger, is if we're able to help one another.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah, I always thought Westside could govern ourselves like that.
True that.
On all levels,
Yeah.
Big hearts over there, huh?
I honestly believe so. I really do. I feel like all I'm doing with my program is not creating anything new. I'm just harnessing and creating synergy. That's all I'm doing. Because all that stuff already existed. It's not like those churches were created because of me. They was there the whole time.
Yeah,
and a lot of them are already doing homeless outreach. I'm just teaching them a different way to do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, follow my model.
Yeah, right. Take the fisherman approach.
Yeah, I'm just trying to say, let me help you with all the
approach.
legal stuff. Let me help you with this. Let me teach you guys how to do this. So I feel like it already all existed.
Woo!
I like it.
I love it.
And we know that your schedule is extremely busy, but I want to...
Because you earn your 62%, bro!
64.
64, sorry.
But I wanna kind of not end, but before we end, pre-ending, I wanna say I'm gonna read something from said by Thomas Edison. Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is to always try just one more time. And I feel like you are embedding this saying into what you're doing, and there's nothing more inspiring than leading by example. And that's you're succeeding in what you're doing, and it's amazing to see. A small thing that we would want to know is, will you run again for governor?
Not today. I have a daughter that's a junior, a daughter that's a sophomore, and I have decided I'm not going to do any big run until my daughters graduate, because, as a mom, I don't want to forget that that's one of the most important roles I can have in my life, is being a mother.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to be there for my children as they finish off these last 2 years of high school. So I don't have a real clear timeline, but I can say that I've enjoyed being in the city. So definitely mayor has been on my mind a lot, because I feel like the grime and the grittiness of city stuff is it's my MO to be cleaning the streets and the streams. I feel like that's kind of more who I am.
Yeah, Ghostbusters.
Yeah, exactly. I'm that person that's let's strap on. So I kind of feel like it's more in line. So I have thought heavily about that. Not this coming cycle, but whether or not that could be a good next step for me. Even just running in the city and county of Honolulu is very difficult, because we have the majority of the population in the state. We have 1 million, right? The neighbor islands have a couple 100,000, but if you can win a mayoral race, then you should be able to win a governor's race down the line. And I've had to do a lot of learning, I'll say that much. I didn't think that I was running for governor when I was 37, like knowing it all. I knew I didn't know it all. I didn't know how much I didn't know, you know, because once you like start to expand and grow, then you're like, wow, I really don't know a lot, and just keep learning. So yeah, I think for me, those are where my thoughts are at.
So best case scenario, if you had to look into the future 5 years from now, best case scenario, where would you want to see yourself?
Yeah, maybe mayor. Yeah. And again, just for the listeners, like, it is not my aspiration to run this city or run this state. It is my aspiration to serve and help people. So as long as I feel like it's still in line with my purpose and my life values, then I will pursue. But I am a believer, especially because I've been a leader my whole life. I don't always need to lead. So there are times as a leader when you can follow. There are times when you allow others to lead. So if it is my time, if I feel like I am the best fit, if I am the candidate that can lead, then yeah, I'll step up and I'll do it.
Wow, that's well said. Well, you know us, we're gonna be voting for you. That's for sure.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
That's for sure.
Yeah, I just want to encourage everyone out there. Like, I really just always say whenever I speak, just be more of who you are. You know, people hear me speak and then they say, oh, I should run for office. I really don't think everyone should run for office. I don't. I think that we need good people everywhere. I think we need good people that are DJs. I think we need good people that are businessmen. We need good teachers. So be more of who you are. You know, be proud of every part of who you are. Contribute to your communities. Give back to Hawaii. And if you're listening to this and you don't live in Hawaii, consider moving home.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Join us. Join us.
Come back.
Yes.
Come back. Thank you very much for this almost 2 hours. I know you have a 2 o'clock.
I do.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate your
It
time,
means a lot to us.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for inviting me. I didn't know what it was going to be like, but it was fun.
Yeah. It's super. It's always fun in here. We just talk joke shit.
Yeah, and if we were able to convince someone to help, or you know, if even one person of all our listeners would do anything about that, then that's amazing. We did our part.
Yeah.
And I know we will, because just sitting with you is so inspiring. I mean, me and Steezy, we're just like pumped.
Ready to go.
We're gonna do a cleanup right here, Waikiki, baby. Beach cleanup, me and Steezy.
Yes, let's do it.
Right on. And we're out. Thank you very much. See you next time.